sometimes in life, the best lessons come from the strangest places. I remember years ago was watching, I think it was some kind of educational special, and the host is showing an experiment with a compass. And he shows the audience a compass, and he says to them, he says, what direction does a compass point? And of course, the audience looks at him and says, well, north. Of course, the compass always points north. He says, are you sure about that? Again, the crowd agrees. They're like, yeah, of course, a compass points north. Why? He says, okay. So he jumps on a radio and he says, go ahead and turn it on. So not too far off from him, there is this like super magnet that's used to pick up scrap metal. And as soon as he turns it on, he shows the audience the compass, and it's no longer pointing north, it's pointing to the magnet. And then, of course, he stops the experiment and he addresses the audience and he says, is this now a trustworthy instrument? Can we trust that a compass points north? Or can we trust that it just simply points to its near strongest influence? And that was eye-opening for me in many ways. I thought about, well, what is north? And it turns out, I'm not a Boy Scout, but it turns out there were three norths. There is magnetic north, which is what the compass is supposed to react to. There is grid north, and then there is true north. So it's a little more complicated than just looking at an instrument and determining direction. So that got me thinking deeper. Sometimes we want to say we're headed in a certain direction in our lives, but realistically, we need more than just one instrument. We can't just trust our instincts. We have to kind of build a team of trusted advisors in our lives to help us to understand and calibrate our direction. The instrumentations that we use sometimes to determine our direction are not always reliable because they can be influenced by the strongest pull in our lives at the time. So without knowing a true direction, a true north, we will find ourselves pulled off our path and losing momentum quickly. And I thought this was interesting because we always think about the old saying of, what's your moral compass? Let your moral compass be your guide. Well, based on that science experiment, can't always rely on our moral compass either, because that's going to be based on its nearest, strongest influences. And without a focus on our true north, we can miss our target and we can miss our destination, or we may reach it much slower because we trusted instruments that were fallible. And that's really the point of the talk, is to just understand that it takes a conscientious effort to fully grasp where we're going, how we're going to get there, and how we're going to navigate that path in life. And without having some other metrics, other things to lean on outside of just one instrument to trust, we can end up going in the wrong direction.